Mr. President. Thank you.
During the last session, Mr. President, I think this representation asked for the standards found in MLC 2006, which we transported into our measure. And the sponsor said that there are at least 6 standards, and the sponsor mentioned rights. May we know what are the other salient features of MLC 2006, which we can find in the measure, Mr. President?
Okay, thank you for that question, Mr. President. And Your Honor, there are 6 areas of concern that should be observed and followed in order to protect the rights and privileges of our seafarers. And those areas concern to be considered under the European Commission guidance. Yung 6 activities areas listed below. Number 1 is monitoring, supervision, evaluation of training and assessment, examination and assessment of competence. Number 2, program and course design and approval. Number 3, number 4, availability and use of training facilities and simulators. Number 5, onboard training. And number 6, issue, revalidation, and registration of certificates and endorsement. Your Honor, Mr. President.
Sige po, yung 6 na areas na yan po yung mahalaga sa MLC 2006 na sinigurado nating mahanap natin sa ating panukalang batas na Magna Carta for seafarers.
That is
yun?
correct.
Sige po.
Your Honor, Mr. President.
Thank you po. Ang Pilipinas po ay state party sa 1978 STCW. Dahil po tayo state party dyan, ano po ang pinakamalaki nating obligasyon under that agreement, Mr. President?
Okay, Mr. President, Your Honor, of course, we have to abide by the rules and regulations under the STCW, which is meron pong a set standard na sinusunod when it comes to training and education for all seafarers, Mr. President.
Diyan po tayo nagka-issue sa EU. Tama po ba yun? Ang aligasyon ba ay hindi tayo compliant with the standards sa STCW 1978?
That is correct, Mr. President. Nakita kasi ng EU na napakarami nating violation pagdating po sa curriculum, sa training. Hindi po tayo sumusunod sa MLC standard of 2006. That's why we were issued so many violations, and because of that, medyo nag-fail tayo sa ginawa nilang pag-inspect sa atin several times until pinaka-recent in 2021 when we failed to the inspection conducted by the EC. What we did is we submitted our position paper telling them that we already complied doon sa mga nirequire nila sa atin. That's why they gave us a provisionary extension. I believe it's good for 5 years or maybe more. So right now, naka-provisionary pa lang tayo, Mr. President.
Ano pong laman nitong ating panukalang batas na tumutugon dun sa mga concerns natin under STCW 1978?
Thank you, Mr. President. Number 1 is curriculum. Ayan yun po yung unang-una na napansin na hindi natin sinusunod. Merong mga subjects doon na wala sa curriculum na hindi tumutugma at sumusunod doon sa required ng MLC 2006. Yung training facilities, yung school, medyo bulok-bulok yung mga eskwelahan. In fact, I addressed that before kasi nakita ko nga may eskwelahan na bulok-bulok at nagmamayari pala mismo mga opisyal ng Marina, and I was glad to know na umatras na yung mga kamag-anak ng opisyal ng Marina at hindi na sila namamahala ng eskwelahan na yon. And then number 2, yung sa simulator, hindi compliance yung simulator na ginagamit sa mga eskwelahan na nagtuturo para maging seafarers ang mga kababayan natin, mga Pilipino. It's not at par with the standards set forth by STCW, kaya doon tayo nag-fail, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Pwede po bang maituro yung section sa ating panukalang batas na tutugon sa ating mga sa ating mga pagkukulang under the STCW 1978? Anong section po?
Nasa chapter 14? No.
Page ano? yun?
Chapter 16. Chapter 16, ito po, section 75, namely, Curriculum Committee, yan yung section 75, Mr. President, Your Honor, and then section 76, Regulation of Training Program and Fees, and then section 77, non-degree courses for seafarers, and then the last but not the least, section 78, Implementing Guidelines.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, ito po ang makakasiguro na siguro yung ating probationary acceptance sa EU ay malilift na po. Sana. Permanently. Hindi na po,
Permanently.
Hindi na po ginawang conditional. Kasi pag probationary, parang conditional yun. May condition.
Tama po kayo
Tama
dyan.
po yun.
Tumpa kayo, Your Honor. We're battling for the permanent
Tama po.
inclusion.
Ito lang pong napansin ko sa ating curriculum committee. It will be chaired by the CHED, and then ang members ay Marina, DMW, DFA, MHEIs, training institutions, academe, ship owners, and manning agencies. Yun, parang nabanggit ko yata ito sa ating sponsor dun sa lounge na bakit na makakasali o makakasama ang ship owners and manning agencies sa paggawa po ng curriculum ng sa ating maritime education.
Yes, tama ka dyan. I really appreciate that you have that observation, Your Honor, Mr. President, because ship owners are part of the stakeholders simply because yung barko po nila ang sinasampahan po ng mga seafarers. So meron din po silang say pagdating po doon sa compliance, pagdating po sa mga regulasyon na may kinalaman po sa edukasyon at training, Mr. President.
Pati po si manning agency. Ano po ang nakikita nating contribution kaya nung sa laman ng curriculum na ituturo sa ating mga marine engineering or marine transportation graduates, ano po ang ating na-anticipate na contribution ng ship owner at saka ng manning agency? Di ba ang manning agency, ano yun? Parang recruiter?
That is correct, Mr. President. Kasi yung manning agency, kapag meron pong violation, halimbawa sa barko, regardless kung nasaan yung barko, at nakita natin na may violation against sa ating seafarer, then we can go after the manning agency. Sila po ang tutugisin at habulin po ng DMW natin for any violation against our seafarers. So that's why kasama rin po silang tinatawag na stakeholders.
So ang ginawa nating committee members ay lahat ng ating ma-envision na stakeholder isanama natin sa curriculum committee. Except that, ang mga marino mismo, hindi sila kasama.
Yung mga marino kasi, Mr. President, they have their SEC, the Standard Employment Contract. Although, yung kini-question ninyo na bakit kasama yung manning agency, like I said earlier, just because when it comes to operational aspects of shipping, they are there to match the skills and training of any seafarer para dun sa barko na sasakyan ng seafarer, and then kapag halimbawa nagka-problema, then sila din po ang mananagot sa ating DMW, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Sige po. But basta, ang pagkaintindi ko, si manning agency ay agent ni ship owner.
That is correct,
Tama.
Mr. President.
And we are giving this sector two voices in our curriculum committee. Kasi kasama si ship owner, kasama na si manning agency.
That is
Kasama
correct.
si principal, kasama si agent.
That is correct. Kasi yung shipping owner, hindi naman palaging na-conduct yun because they're based abroad. So, ang pinakamabilis na ma-contact in case of emergency, in case of problem that will arise as a result of the seafarer who would like to file a complaint against the ship owner for any violation, napakahirap naman kasi, Mr. President, na pupunta pa tayo sa abroad, kukontakin natin sila, yung ship owners, kung saan man sila bansa, whereas yung manning agency, nandito lang sa ating bansa, dito lang sa Pilipinas, at madali natin makontak, madali tayong makipag-ugnayan agad sa kanila for whatever reason, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Sige, Mr. President, but itong katanungan ko was only about the curriculum committee sa section 75. Wala pong position dito ang CHED. Wala silang sinabi. Is there any other program na accredited ng CHED na may private sector silang pinapasali to form the curriculum?
Ang CHED, Mr. President, Chairman, pagdating sa Curriculum Committee. So meron pong say ang CHED at malaki po ang participation dito ng CHED, Your Honor.
Pero dito sa ating dito sa pagkasulat ng ating panukala ba wala there was no comment from CHED as to the composition of the curriculum committee. We just want to make that of record because this representation will also communicate with CHED if this is a normal way of forming a curriculum committee. Mr.
Okay.
President.
I'm happy to inform you, Your Honor, Mr. President, we have informed them about the format and showed them about the format of this bill, and they agreed with it, and they have no complaints. The contents of it, Mr. President, they were consulted.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, ang aking point lang is siguro pag curriculum na the best interest of the state ang ating nasa isip, and of course the best interest of the people we are educating, not the best business interest of some sectors of society kasi napasok natin sila sa curriculum committee. But anyway, that's just my opinion, Mr. President. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
but they have the right to be consulted, Mr. President, from time to time. Of course, the CHED has a say. Anytime na kailangan natin yung kanilang serbisyo, kailangan natin kanilang opinion and expertise, they're always there to help and to be consulted, and they agreed on that term when us and them came into contact and talk about that issue, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So now, itong panukala natin, pag maging batas ito, this will now be the Magna Carta of Seafarers. Ano po, so batas ito, Magna Carta. Pag sinabi kasi natin Magna Carta, that's the most important piece of legislation for the subject matter.
Yes, Your
So,
Honor.
ano po ang magiging relationship ng ating Magna Carta sa Labor Code at saka Magna Carta sa DMW law?
Okay. Yung Magna Carta po for seafarers, ito po ay nakafocus para sa domestic and international.
Seafarers.
Now, dinefine po sa bill na ito ang difference. Ang difference is yung sa route. Whereas, pagdating po doon sa sino may saklaw doon sa dalawa, pagdating po doon sa domestic, saklaw po sila ng batas ng DOLE because they're domestic. Whereas kapag doon sa mga international waters na mga seafarers nagpa-apply international route, then dito papasok po yung DMW. Although under po silang pareho sa Magna Carta for Seafarers, kaya lang yung domestic seafarers meron pong exclusive na section dito sa bill nito which is chapter 14. Chapter 14, Your Honor.
Samantalang yung batas sa DMW ay hindi naman po maapektuhan itong ating Magna Carta.
Hindi naman po, kasi they complement each other,
Apo.
Your Honor, Mr. President.
Except that yun na, may napansin tayo na pinalabas natin noong last session na yung definition natin ng seafarers sa ating Magna Carta ay hindi eksaktong tugma na nandun sa DMW Act. Kasi yung fishers, meron tayong pinoint out last time na yung mga fisher folk po natin working in commercial vessels fishing in international waters. Yun po yan.
That is correct, Your Honor. Again, that's a very good observation. And a while ago, I had a long and lengthy discussion with my Legis team, and I'm the one who questioned that. Pareho po yung ating opinion tungkol dyan at pareho yung concern natin. But maganda naman po yung explanation ng team ko at saka ng mga stakeholders, not only my team, but I have with me some members of the stakeholders, and they told me talagang two different animals po yun, yung 188, ILO 188, and then yung MLC 2006. Kasi po, merong exclusive talaga na mga provisions doon po sa ILO 188 na different po sa MLC 2006. Mas mataas po kasing standard ng MLC 2006, so hindi pwedeng pagsamahin sila pareho dahil lugi naman po yung mga fishing vessels na they cannot meet at par with what is at the MLC. Halimbawa dyan, Mr. President, mas mataas ang sweldo, mas maraming benepisyo, hindi po kayang sabayan ng mga owners ng mga fishing vessels, whether that will be domestic or international, Your Honor, Mr. President.
So, thank you for that input, Mr. President. So, talagang klaro na sa paggamit natin ng salitang seafarer at saka yung gusto natin maging covered ng ating Magna Carta, imposible na nating ma-accommodate ang ating mga fisher folk na nasa international commercial vessels. Kasi yun ang sabi niyo po, it's unfair. Pero although kung isasama natin sila dito, hindi po ba na yung vessels to be affected are the international ocean-going commercial vessels?
That is correct, Mr. President. Another difference is, iba kasi ang sweldo doon sa commercial na seafaring versus sa fishing vessels na mga seafarer. Iba din po yung benefits nila at iba rin po yung may saklaw na batas sa kanila. Like I said already, Mr. President, ILO 188 covers seafarers involved in the fishing industry, whereas yung MLC doon naman kino-cover yung mga nasa commercial vessels, international commercial vessels other than sa mga fishing vessels.
Dito po sa ating panukala, meron tayong konsepto na standard employment contract para sa seafarers. Sa seafarers na covered. So ibig sabihin nun, sa mga fisher folk pala natin na nare-recruit sa international commercial vessels, are they also do they also have a standard employment contract?
That is precisely right. You're definitely right, Your Honor, Mr. President. Pareho silang merong SEC, Standard Employment Contract. Magkaiba nga lang. Dahil again, yung contract nila sumusunod yung kung sa international ka, then meron kang SEC, yung sa regular seafaring, sumusunod yun sa MLC 2006. At kapag sa fishing vessels ka naman, susunod ka dun sa ILO 188, Your Honor.
Opo. So, pagdating sa seafarers na pasok sa ating definition, they will be governed by the Magna Carta. Ang requirement may standard employment contract. Ngayon po, sa ating fisher folk sa international commercial vessels, ang requirement ng standard employment contract ay wala sa isang local law, but because of that ILO 88 convention, Mr. President?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And then, kung maging batas ito Magna Carta, which is the primary agency to implement this?
DMW, Mr. President.
DMW. Yung mga fisher folk po natin, what will now be the primary agency na sila naman ang sila inaalagaan?
The DMW pa rin, Mr. President.
DMW pa din.
Yes.
Sige po. Except that iba ang mga legal basis ng mga karapatan na pwede
yung mga
nilang
terms, Mr.
i-invoke.
President.
Okay. Salamat po for that for that clarification, Mr. President. Ngayon, dito pong ating definition ng seafarer na nasa page 6, line 11, letter U.
6.
Tayo po ba ay nakatingin sa tao na para maging seafarer o nakatingin tayo sa ship covered under this act? Nakasulat dito, Mr. President.
Of course, nakafocus po tayo dun sa tao, Mr. President, kaya Magna Carta for Seafarer because more on the people who are on board the ships ang ating pinoprotektahan dito, ang covered dito sa batas natin na ito.
And then, sa definition, second paragraph po ng definition, andun po yung word na engage, naka-quotation marks pa nga siya. Paano po yung mga, posible po ba na meron tayong seafarer who is not actively engaged, Mr. President?
If they're not actively engaged, Mr. President, then they're not considered a seafarer. Siguro you're talking about those seafarers na nag-expire na yung contract nila, bumaba na sa barko. Of course, they're no longer covered under this Magna Carta bill because nag-expire ng contract nila unless kung sila mag-sign ng another contract, pagsampa nilang barko, then covered ulit sila nitong Magna Carta, Your Honor.
So parating merong live contract po ito. Itong
Active
ating
and live contract.
Active and live
Yes, sir.
contract. Kasi sinabi po rito sa ating definition, seafarer refers to any Filipino who is engaged, employed, or working in any capacity on board a ship covered under this act. Yung po bang covered under this act refers to, yung phrase na yun refers to to the ship. So may we know if what are the ships covered under this act, Mr. President?
Okay. Tama kayo this observation, Mr. President. Seafarers refers to any Filipino who is engaged, employed, or working in any capacity on board a ship. So, halimbawa ako, Mr. President, after na makapasa ako sa lahat ng requirements, certification para maging seafarer, sumampa ako ng barko, then covered po ako nitong batas na ito. Then, yung ship na sinampahan ko, hindi po covered. Although, kung meron pong ginawang violation ang ship na yon against me, then meron silang pananagutan dahil sa kanilang pagkukulang against me. Your Honor, Mr. President.
Pero is the sponsor open if the phrase will bring in some confusion, if we can clarify
Yes,
the
Mr.
definition,
President.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President. We're open to special pagdating sa period of amendment. Any suggestion from you, recommendation, of course, that is something that we have to study. And if we see that talaga makakatulong sa bill na ito, yung idadagdag niyo po dito sa amendments, periods of amendments, why not? We'll be more than happy to include that, Your Honor.
Nakakagulo ba yung ship? And then dito po sa page 14, section 28, beginning on line 15, meron pong seafarer dito an SEC, Standard Employment Contract, between the ship owner and the seafarer shall be in writing and shall include, etc. Yung seafarer po ba na gamit ng salita rito ay limitado kay international seafarer o kasama si domestic seafarer?
I'm sorry, which one? Page 14?
Page 14, lines 15 and 16. May seafarer po na salita rito
Okay.
Ano po ang extent ng salitang seafarer? Is that an international seafarer or kasama din po si domestic seafarer?
Dito po, Mr. President, sa page 14, chapters 7, line 15 and 16, this refers exclusively to the international seafarers, Mr. President. Your Honor.
Pag ginamit po ba ang salitang seafarer na labas doon sa chapter for the domestic seafarers, automatic ang ibig sabihin nun, that refers to the international seafarer?
Absolutely right, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Okay, we have to make that clear, Mr. President, kasi meron din kami na-encounter na mga provision na labas sa chapter on the domestic seafarers na ang aming pakiramdam ay dapat covered din si domestic seafarer.
Magandang observation yun yan, Mr. President. But again, dito po sa bill na ito, kaya nga meron exclusive chapter ang domestic seafarers, which is chapter 14. Pero yung suggestion nyo is this is something that we have to study and see kung pwede nga po ma-adapt yung gusto nyo. And we will be in consultation with your team para makikita kung tama nga lang na magkaroon ng another words na kahit nalabas sa Section 14 na para ma-define kung kasama pa rin yung domestic o hindi na talaga.
Opo.
Your Honor.
Yun po nga point, Mr. President, kung pwede yung mga teams po natin, legislative teams will go over the bill. Pero gusto ba nating, is that the approach that you want, Mr. President, na yun lang chapter 14 ba yun? Chapter 14 lamang sa ating panukalang batas ang magiging applicable sa domestic seafarers na paglabas na ng Chapter 14, pag may salitang seafarer yun, automatic ang meaning nun is the international seafarer.
Yes, Mr.
Okay,
President,
so
Your Honor, kasi if you've noticed, time and time again, inuulit ko palagi, mataas kasing standard ng international seafaring. If we're talking about MLC of 2006 versus sa ILO 188, so hindi po pwede silang pagsamahin, baka magkalabo-labo lang, magkaroon ng confusion, Your Honor.
Right section, ano to yun? Definition of terms. Kasi meron po, for example, may mga rights tayo eh. Chapter 3, Seafarers' Rights. So ang pag-interpret ba natin dito, hindi po ito applicable sa domestic seafarer?
Okay, Mr. President, medyo meron tayong gagawin correction. Applicable pa rin pala, Mr. President, Your Honor, even outside Chapter 14, when you say seafarers sa other chapters, it still applies to domestic seafarers.
So, in effect, the entire law applies to domestic seafarers. And then binigyan pa na applicable sa buong Magna Carta sa domestic seafarers, tapos may special chapter pa sa domestic seafarers.
In some chapters, yes, when you say seafarers in this bill, may applicable pa rin po sa mga domestic seafarers, certain chapters. Pero meron silang exclusive chapter, which is Chapter 14, para sa mga domestic seafarers lamang.
So apparently, Mr. President, meron tayong ibang siguro provision dyan o paragraphs na ang gamit na salita ay seafarer, pero ang intention natin ay international seafarer lamang ang applicable ito. So, kung merong ganun, siguro it's an omnibus request na lang na balikan natin yun. At if we need to distinguish, we have to distinguish para hindi po tayo malilito sa ating Magna Carta. Kasi potential landmark law ito eh. Kailangan very clear po tayo.
I agree with you totally, Your Honor, Mr. President. Yes, doon sa gagawin nating amendment, isasama po natin yung pinupoint nyo, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Siguro we can adopt the terminology na kung ginamit yata natin sa Chapter 14, domestic seafarers, tapos I do not know para sa international kung tama ba yung salitang international seafarers to distinguish the two. So itanong na lang po natin sa experts kung that is si domestic seafarer, looks like that is the correct term kasi nasa bill na natin yun eh. But si seafarer na hindi po domestic seafarer, bigyan na lang natin ng correct terminology kung talagang dun lang natin linilimit yung applicability ng provision. And then kung meron tayong generic term na seafarer, that means applicable yun sa dalawang klase na seafarer.
For both domestic and international,
Mr. President.
Your Honor.
Just a suggestion, Mr. President.
Thank you for the suggestion. Point well taken, Your Honor.
Ginagamit po nating ito na tinanong ko rin si sponsor, Mr. President, doon sa loob ng lounge niya, sabi ko na kasi meron ba tayong mga salita rito or terms dito na may technical meaning? Kasi siyempre industriya ito eh. If it's an industry, merong mga technical terms po yan eh. Ito bang Philippine or foreign registered ocean-going vessels, yung phrase na yan, meron po bang technical meaning po yan?
Ocean-going vessels, Mr. President, refers to international seafarers. Kasi po, hindi po siya domestic at hindi po inland yung rota ng vessel na yan. They go to international waters, so open sea. So therefore, that vessel is considered a vessel for international seafarers, Your Honor.
Okay. So, dito lang pumahanap yan sa panukalang batas natin, yung phrase na yun, or ginagamit yan sa yung mga ocean-going vessel, ginagamit ba yan sa sa international conventions? So, may meaning na po ba yan? Technical meaning?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. President, ginagamit po yan ng ibang bansa rin dahil ito po ay isang probinsyon na nakasaad po sa MLC 2006 na halos lahat ng mga miyembro sinusunod po ito, Your Honor, Mr. President.
So, yan ang ating pag-define natin o pag-determine natin sa ocean going kasi gusto natin siyang i-contrast sa may domestic na rota. So, yung pong bang ating paggamit, pag-define sa may domestic na rota also has a technical meaning. Itong Philippine registered domestic ships engage in trade and commerce between Philippine ports and within Philippine territorial or internal water.
That is correct.
Ito po ba ay technical phrase din po o technical term?
Yes, Mr. President, in every sense of the word, yeah, you're right, that's technical. Kasi nga po, pag sinabi mong domestic vessels for domestic seafarers, yung rota na pinapply nila ay dito sa territory lang po natin, within our territory, meaning inland, they don't go outside our territory. They don't go to open seas. They don't go to international waters, Mr. President. So, diyan po na-define ang difference ng domestic vessels flying domestic routes versus ocean-going vessels flying international routes. Your Honor, ocean-going vessels.
Kasi yung seafarers on board doon sa mga dalawang klaseng vessels na yon will also determine kung domestic seafarers sila or international seafarers sila. Ganun
Precisely
po ba yan?
right, Your Honor, Mr.
So
President.
mahalaga po ito. Ito pong MLC 2006, ang jurisdiction niya ay sa member states, sa ships ng member states that fly its flag. Yun po ba yun? So, yun po bang flying its flag na prinsipyo ay na-adapt po natin dito sa ating panukalang batas?
That is correct, Mr. President.
Yan po ba, when you are Philippine registered, that means you are flying the Philippine flag. Yan po yung meaning nun?
That is correct. That is exactly right, Your Honor.
And there is no foreign registered vessel which can be considered as a domestic ship.
Dito sa atin, no, Mr.
Dito
President.
sa atin.
No. Foreign registered vessels, then doon po sila sa ibang bansa, sa kanilang bansa, Mr. President.
Sige po. Is it possible na mayroong foreigner na empleyado ng isang Philippine registered domestic ship?
No, that's not possible, Mr. President, because that's against our law, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Kahit makakuha siya ng, let's say, employment certificate, marami pong, kahit ang Pogo, Mr. President, ang dami nagtatrabaho sa Philippine territory, hindi naman
Right.
hindi naman justifiable yun, hindi naman kailangan yun. But sure po tayo doon, there is no foreigner employed or working as a seafarer in a Philippine registered domestic ship.
That is correct.
sige po.
Iba kasi yung Pogo, Your Honor,
opo.
Mr. President. Iba kasi ito. We have a law defined noong paman na hindi pwede ang mga foreigners na magtrabaho sa Philippine flag vessels and then flying inland territories because there's also a national issue, national security issue, Mr. President.
Is the sponsor telling us there's a specific law? May specific law against it? Or it's just the general principle na
Cabotage.
employment to? Employment lang. Employment.
Cabotage law. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Your Honor, Mr. President. Cabotage law. Thank you, Sen. Riza.
Bakit sa sea?
Cabotage law.
Cabotage
Your Honor.
law?
Yes,
Sige.
Mr. President.
Double checking. Ito pong situation ng ating seafarers with their ship owners and agencies, hindi po ba highly regulated na yan ngayon, Mr. President?
That is correct, highly regulated, Mr. President.
Yes, at this present time. So,
Regulated in the sense that lahat po ng shipping industry, international shipping industry, that is, regulated sila because they have to follow that MLC 2006. Palagi po kasi ang point of basis ng lahat ng seafaring internationally ay yung MLC 2006 na halos lahat ng countries na meron pong commercial vessels flying international routes ay sumusunod po dito sa MLC 2006, Your Honor, Mr. President.
yeah, and yet, parang ang naririnig nating feedback in marami pang kaso against seafarers versus ship owner or manning agency.
That is correct, Mr. President.
Kung tama yung hearing namin kanina, 4,000, if I remember correctly, 4,000 new cases a year.
That is
tama
correct.
po ba yung narinig ko kanina sa budget hearing natin?
Karamihan kasi, yes, Mr. President, tama po yung pagkarinig nyo. Ang kadalasan kasing problema ay more on doon po sa claims sa tinatawag na disability. Doon po nagkakaroon ng maraming kaso. Kung saan naglalabanan po yung seafarer versus yung ship owners, and of course the ship owners, ang representative nila dito ay yung manning agency.
Ano po, forgive me, Mr. President, ano po yung masasabi nating top 3 issue ni seafarer against the ship owner or manning agency?
Well, yung breach of contract, isa po yun, Mr. President.
Okay.
Hindi nasusunod yung contract. And then, there are times also, this one based on my experience, Mr. President, yung pera na pinapadala nila sa kanilang mga kamag-anak, supposedly dapat it should be on time, hindi nakakarating sa tamang panahon, sa tamang oras. And then, isa pa sa mga reklamo nila, Mr. President, they don't have access to information kapag meron silang gustong malaman, may mga kamag-anak. That is, what happened to their relatives, na hirapan silang makakuha ng information na yan. Number 3, yung sa illegal dismissal, Mr. President. Yun nga, kasama na dun sa breach of contract, hindi pa natatapos yung kanilang contract, dinidismiss sila for a very flimsy reason. So, yun po, pinagsama-sama na the big bulk of the problem, pinagsama-sama yung Mr. President. Of course, tulad na banggit ko nung una, kasama pa rin doon po yung reklamo nila mga seafarers dahil hindi sila nakakuha ng tamang hustisya pagdating sa pag-file ng disability claims against the ship owners, Your Honor.
Pero ngayon, meron na tayong parang structure, sistema, paano nila mapupursu yung kanilang mga grievance. So, paano po ma-improve nitong ating panukala? Kasi ito bang breach of contract? Ngayon, standard contract na rin yan, di ba? It's a
That is
breach
correct.
of the standard employment contract, actually.
That is correct.
So meron na nun. So paano po talaga natin itong ating panukala? Paano sila talagang konkretong matutulungan? In the sense na mababawasan ba si breach of contract o mapapabilis si desisyon sa kasong breach of contract?
Both, Mr. President. Kasi lahat ng contract that our seafarer entered into, yan po ay ni-review or nakakatanggap po ng kopya ang DMW. So at any given time, any given point, nakita po ng seafarer na mayroong violation against his contract, all he needs to do or she needs to do is contact the DMW, and DMW will review the contract, and then they will do appropriate action pertaining to that seafarer's complaint, Your Honor, Mr. President.
That can be done now.
That can be done now, Mr. President.
So, anong mararamdaman ng natin pagdating dito sa mga labor issues or issues ng seafarers sa ship owner and manning agency? Dahil sa may Magna Carta na tayo, mababawasan kaya itong mga issues ng seafarer versus ship owner and manning agency?
Mababawasan po, Mr. President, kasi batas na po itong Magna Carta. Unlike before, kalat-kalat po yung mga karapatan ng ating mga seafarers. Meron yung DOLE, meron yung marina, etc. Now, yung mga laws pertaining to seafarers na kung saan nakatoka dati doon sa iba't ibang agency ng ating gobyerno, inilagay na po dito sa Magna Carta at batas pa. So hindi na po nakakalito, hindi na po confusing kasi in-incorporate na po lahat dito sa Magna Carta of seafarers, Your Honor.
Actually, Mr. President, honorable sponsor, dito po sa Chapter 11, Dispute Resolution, Section 48, page 24 po ito, onboard and onshore grievance machinery. Meron, then nasa page 25, line 2 naman, ito naman po last sentence ng first paragraph ng Section 48, this grievance must be exhausted as a remedy in order to protect the rights of the Filipino seafarer. Ang worry ko lang dito is maka ma-misapply ito o ma-misinterpret ito na magamit pa yung non-exhaustion of the grievance machinery against the seafarer. So, if we can tighten the words to make sure na the grievance machinery is for the benefit of the seafarer and non-exhaustion cannot be used against the seafarer.
That is correct. Definitely, kapag meron na problema ang isang seafarer, Mr. President, he or she has to use that grievance committee doon po sa barko. And then kapag na-exhaust na niya yung committee na yan, kung ano man yung naging desisyon, and if he or she thinks na hindi favorable sa kanya, then pwede ho siyang, pagdating niya ng Pilipinas, pwede ho siyang mag-file ng case against doon sa ship owners through the manning agency.
Sige po, basta at the proper time, lalo na kung mahanap namin yung mga tamang salita, if we can clarify talaga that the non-exhaustion of this grievance machinery should not be allowed and can never be used against the seafarer. Kasi
It should never be, Mr.
baka,
President.
baka may step na ma-miss magagamit po dahil because of our Section 48.
Tama ka, Mr. President,
Opo.
kasi imbis na favorable itong ginagawa natin, batas na itong bill na ito para sa mga seafarer, later on baka mapagsamantala magamit ng mga ship owners
Napatagal pa, na-delay pa.
na
Opo.
delay pa, Mr.
And then
President.
ito pong sa ating page 25, second paragraph ng section 48, last sentence, sabi dito, any agreements reached by the parties at the grievance proceeding shall be final and binding. Meron lang po kami naisip dito na baka kasi may representative si seafarer dito at kailangan siguro lumabas yung kailangan siguro yung agreement na ito talagang may pirma ng ating seafarer, Mr.
That is
President.
correct, Mr. President. Kapag nagkaroon po ng agreement at pumirma nga talaga yung seafarer na doon sa ginawang arbitration ng grievance committee, umoke siya doon at merong signature siya, then I don't see any problem with that. Kung para sa kanya resolve na yung kaso, then so be it, Mr. President. And it has to be honored.
Yes, ang akin namang senaryo na ayoko na may magamit pa laban sa seafarer.
That is correct.
That and the document does not bear his or her signature or agreement, pero sasabihin hindi, meron kang representative doon o may abogado ka ron, Mr. President.
Standard naman kasi, Mr. President, na kapag sa isang grievance at both parties ay nagkaroon ng agreement to settle without going further, then they have to affix their signatures kung ano po yung nakalagay doon sa agreement na yun. Once both signatures were affixed in that document, then consider it as binding, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, yung practice, we just capture it in words talaga para
Yes,
wala talagang lusot, Mr. President.
This is the beauty of what we're doing
Yes.
now, Mr. President. We're talking, and since this is new, kung ano man po yung nakikita nyong may dadagdag nyo, maitutulong nyo para ma-enhance at mapaganda pa itong bill na ito for the benefit of the seafarers, why not? We are very open to any suggestions, to any recommendations para ito pong bill ng seafarers ay talaga magiging para sa seafarers, hindi para kung kanino man, manning agency or ship owners, etc.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ito lang po, Mr. President, meron lang ako na-encounter na isang section, like Section 51, Judgment on the Basis of Certification. Nasa page 26 po yan. Ito po ang kanyang pananalita. No judgment or award resulting in the forfeiture of the seafarer's claims shall be rendered solely on the basis of a defective or questionable fit-to-work certification. In all honesty, Mr. President, and in all humility, hindi ko po ito maintindihan, itong Section 51. Kung pwede pong mapaliwanag po sa representasyon na ito, ano bang ibig sabihin po nitong Section 51, Mr. President?
Paliwanag niyo.
Naintindihan niyo ba to? Sir, diba? Ano yung...
Parang based on merit, natin na-claim siya.
Siya nga, abogado, nahirapan siya mag-intindi. Paano po ba?
Resulting in the forfeiture. Tapos
Nahilo